Good morning, seventh graders. Let's take a look at what you had to do for a review this morning with your crew or a partner. So I wanted to give you two questions just to go through really quick and just remind yourself a little bit about lesson 6 and what we've talked about. So number 1, you had to pick the correct setup of the proportion. And we've talked about this in the last couple days this week. And then when you pick the correct setup of the proportion, you didn't have to solve it, but you had to be able to at least explain why you're choosing that one and what we talked about in class. So hopefully for number 1, you chose letter B. And so your explanation should be that when the proportion is set up with a story, your labels match. So if you notice in the numerator, laps and laps are there, and in the denominator, minutes and minutes. And that is the correct way to solve it if you were to do that. That forms that proportion for you. It is equivalent. Number 2, which is the equivalent proportion? So I gave you 3 choices. And last week we talked about different ways, different methods you could use to determine if a proportion was equivalent. Method number 1 was being able to see if the numerator or denominator was getting smaller or larger by a certain amount. And then method number 2 was checking cross products. So if you look at letter C is your proportion. Those are equivalent ratios. And you can tell in the numerator going from 7 to 35, that's increasing by 5. And then in the denominator from 8 to 40, that is also increasing by 5, multiplying by 5. So letter C is your equivalent proportion. Now, you are headed here in your agenda to the second bullet that says Lesson 6 Quick Check in Schoology. So this is an assignment grade. Any quick check that we've done in Schoology have been assignment grades. This is your 5th assignment grade that will be going into the grade book. And so if I show you here what that looks like, all the way at the bottom is the one that you're completing today, lesson 1.6. There are 5 questions in there that review lesson 6 for you. And so just keep in mind when you are doing the quick checks that you can absolutely use line paper to work the problems out, which I suggest here in the agenda. You use your calculator because you're going to do some solving of proportions, solving for a missing value. And if you'd like to as well, you can go back in your math book. We did tons of sample problems that you can go back for reference. You also are able to, at any point in time, go to any of the agendas that we've completed, throughout the last 2.5 weeks, and you can look at videos also. So just keep that in mind. It's an assignment grade, and so please make sure that you're submitting that today. You know, with all of your assignments, that if you score under 70%, we are encouraging you to get a grade higher than that you should retake it. So it's set at unlimited times. So once you finish that in Schoology and that's submitted, the time remaining, what we want you to work on is BuzzMath. And really, hopefully you have a nice chunk of time to do that. If you notice here, I put using proportions to solve problems has been added to BuzzMath. You now have 4 lessons to continue to work on and complete. These are all due at the end of chapter 1, which is September 30th. So in BuzzMath, let me try that one more time here. Refresh this. I showed you, I believe, a week ago or so, how you get into BuzzMath, how you check for your assignments, and so you know what has to get completed. You have that list on your homepage. So I can go to track assignments on mine. And these are the 4 assignments that you've been given so far for chapter 1. So the one I just added is at the very top here. And so I was able to go through each of those 4 and just look in each section, whether it was mine, Mr. Terpstra's, or Mr. Whalen's, and just see how many students are completing these lessons and getting them done or having the opportunity to get them finished. And so there's still quite a few students that have not even started any of these. In fact, there's a few students that haven't even logged in and activated their BuzzMath account. So I would say in the next day or so, I will be sending a few emails to my students for sure, just as that reminder. These are participation grades. And so at the end of chapter 1 on September 30th, we're going to take, let's say, these 4, maybe I add one more, 5. And out of those 5, your completion on those, your participation on those lessons will go in as a participation grade. So please, please, please make sure if you have time today, you are using that time to get as far as you can on these BuzzMath lessons. These need to get completed. There are 10 questions in each section. So if you don't, let's say you run out of time, maybe your quick check took a little bit longer, then make sure over the weekend or Friday, if you have an opportunity, depending on again, your time in class, you are working towards getting these completed. September 30th is next Wednesday, and we'll talk a little bit about that in tomorrow's video, just about your tests that will come up, ending chapter 1, and making sure that you're getting everything completed that you need to before that chapter test. So enjoy your hour, get your quick check done, make sure you're working on BuzzMath, and we will talk tomorrow. We'll talk Friday. Have a great day.